Asteroid of fear.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Men of the House podcast. I'll turn this down just a little bit. Happy Monday. That's right. Sorry for the late release, but let me tell you, it has been the Monday of Mondays. Of course, um, the universe could have it no other way. But we're still going to get this out and be victorious. Yeah, go for a win. Better late than never. So, let's start off the story with how things were supposed to go. We went out of town, and I ended up taking my podcast equipment with me because I wanted to interview my brother in law. So, my brother in law has his own gym. He's competed in bodybuilding. He's one of the most successful people I know with like a zero social media presence. So, yeah, oh boy, we're running into a problem, Houston. You may see it. Let's see. Oh boy, I may have to pause. If you notice the camera angle dropping, hold on. I might have to pause this and reset up real quick. Set up a different way. And we're back um, with a new, maybe slightly different camera angle. Yeah. So that factors into the story. Anyway, so I was going to interview my brother in law over the weekend while we were visiting. Um, and had everything set up, ready to go, but he was just kind of too busy. And he had about a 20-minute little window where he's like, if you want to do it now. And I was like, well, 20 minutes is just not my style of interview for one. Um, yeah, I like to do kind of a life story, but I wanted, I want to make sure that I go deep and that, it's not a piece of shit interview. um, we either do it right or don't do it at all. Don't rush it. We can get it done another time because the other thing, like I always say, these interviews, they're part of people's history and story, and kids and grandkids are going to hear them, and so um, yeah, they're important to me, and I want this for his son, my nephew, and any other children that could come along and their kids and grandkids to be able to know, like, hey, this is what motivated their dad, drove him, what he was thinking about, what his goal was, because I know his goals. And yeah, so we will tell that story one day. Summer's coming up. I know we'll be spending some more time, but he's going through a lease agreement negotiation, and the landlord's being a pain in the ass. So he was pretty preoccupied, to say the least. But yeah, I got home late and was gonna record this morning when I woke up early and or right after the gym. Right after the gym. So I get up and because I took all my equipment with me, I'm having to set everything back up um to my desktop versus my laptop and just reconnect and and I got allergies. But, you know, oh, it was I'm getting everything out. I have a collapsible ring light stand that's out of focus over here that holds my phone, which is the use of my camera because the iPhone 15 camera was better than the Sony ZV-1 or whatever it was. And I already have an iPhone, so it's easy to use. Um, Well, as I'm telescoping it and unscrewing, or actually trying to get the tripod out, that's what it was. The feet kind of collapse and pull up, like a folding. And I just grabbed one part wrong and snap, off came the ring light. So, problem number one, gonna record after the gym. Break ring light. I tape ring light. I do some creative engineering with a little duct tape. If you can't duck it, fuck it. That's my motto. And so taped it up, looked structurally sound, and go to the gym, get my workout in, and we made a Trader Joe's run while we were out, and we're gonna have I think a tri-tip Santa Maria or something. I'm gonna throw it in the crock pot, and I needed some fingerling potatoes, and we needed some butter. So after the gym, I run across the street to the grocery store, and they also had some Ben and Jerry's, buy one get one for a penny. I don't, do I normally eat Ben and Jerry's? Not often, but I've been wanting to try their pistachio. And 2 pints for $6. So I was like, yeah, why not? So I shit you not, I get in my car and I get a text from my mom. She's like, "Oh, the power's out at the house." Great, because I wanted to come home and turn on the crock pot, and I just bought ice cream. So fucking hey. mm. So get home, put everything away. You don't want to open and close things if you don't have to. And meanwhile, I meander around. um, yeah, I lost a lot of momentum. I was like super psyched to record, and then the fucking light, I fixed the light, then there's no fucking power, and it's irritating. And so while there was no power, I'm like, well, I guess I can go for another walk, think about what I'm going to talk about on the episode, and just process stuff. So I go for another walk. The power eventually comes on after being out for 2 hours. And, you know, I went for the walk kind of because I needed some endorphins because I typically like to record after a workout. Um, yeah, because the mind's going, the endorphins are flowing, and I needed some endorphins. So took a little walk, thought I'd process that, come in, got everything set up because I'd kind of set it up pre ahead of time, and I just needed to set my ring camera or ring light up and camera across the way from me. Um, and I get like everything set up, and the my taping job was not structurally sound. So the camera starts doing this thing like leaning forward. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see my hand. But yeah, the ring light, it's like, and you could hear me in the thing. Or no, actually. So I'm looking for the tape. I can't find the tape that I used this morning. I find this other packing tape stuff. And I thought that I retaped it better so it would stay upright. And before I could hit record. Yeah. Because, what I'll do is, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but when you open Zoom, if you don't want to use your webcam, it's got a little drop down box for a secondary cam. And whether you're using a external cam or like an iPhone cam, either way, it's, but yeah, that's besides the point. So the thing's starting to fall down because I'm trying to. What I have to do is I have to go across, and I have a TV, like a big monitor in front of me, and I'm able to position the camera. So I have to get up and go over and position it towards the chair. And what do I want in the frame? How much of Kyle Smith over here? How much of the men in the house? How much of 311? Um, how much of me? So yeah, so I'm doing that, and I get it set to the spot, and it starts falling down. I get it taped back up. It's holding, and then for whatever reason, sometimes Zoom does this thing where it won't pick up the secondary camera, or it selects it and the phone turns on, but there's no picture. And sometimes you have to restart the phone, which I did. Disconnect, reconnect, quit Zoom, restart Zoom. Ultimately, had to shut down the computer. You want to talk about taking the fucking wind out of the sails. And then I finally get the camera to pick up, hit record, and you guys heard it. It starts falling forward. I had to pause for the cause, move my little table, and I have this other little stand thing that I kind of had before. I like the other setup better. Um, but yeah, what a fucking shit show. Cinco de Mayo, Cinco de shit show has been more like it. I guess that's what I could expect. I'm only half Mexican. I'm 2.5 de Mayo. Yeah, 2.50, having half a fucking day. Half a bucket of bullshit. So yeah, it's been interesting. But we're finally here. We're finally set up. We're finally going. Mm. Well, sorry you had to hear all that and that you didn't get an interview today and you're stuck with me. But since you are stuck with me, we'll talk about the weekend and kind of, it was a weekend of connecting two different family members we don't get to see often. I told you my wife, it was an aunt that she rarely, every time she would go to Michigan, that aunt was not there. I think they were in the military. And so they would be elsewhere. And they had gone on a cruise with the in-laws and were coming back and we all met up and apparently we had met before, I guess at her mom's birthday when we were in Michigan, but I don't remember. I was drinking back then. Terrible excuse, but yeah, I was pretty schnockered in Michigan. Booze was cheap. And they had the dispensary there. Yeah. Oh, some times of debauchery. So, mm, yeah, having some crazy thoughts about that time in my life. What my connections were like then, um, what was on the horizon, what I hadn't seen, what I wasn't seeing. Oh, man. Probably hear the stress in my voice because what was approaching and what I was about to have to fucking go through was, that's what led me here. But I almost feel like very similar feelings in a way. Just kind of weird. But, and that I feel a little disconnected. Um, Things feel very vanilla to me, if that makes sense. Uh, I don't think I need turmoil. I don't think I need a struggle. Some people do. And I'm not lacking struggle, but yeah, it's just the same reason I wanted off antidepressants because I felt vanilla, flat, and I feel the same way. Although I don't take antidepressants, and I sure as hell don't want to take them. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. I guess we'll just have to keep filling vanilla till we don't feel vanilla anymore. I don't know. We'll keep working out, keep walking, keep trying to boost the endorphins, and hopefully it'll get better. But yeah, I mean, connecting it for me, it was like a weekend of observation, I guess you could say. Talking to different people, some that I knew, some that were strangers. Had some really good conversations. Met a lot of great people. My brother-in-law's neighbors invited us to a crawfish boil, very southeast Texas like, which is close to Louisiana. The dirty, dirty H town. So a lot of great people. Don't remember all their names, but I had some wonderful conversations, and that was a lot of fun. And it was just so interesting because I remember sitting at the table and looking, and I'm like, this is like the snapshot of Americana, like kids in the pool, a bunch of dudes hanging around the crawfish pot, with like a cooler. There's some music going on, some country, some classic rock, and some people inside, some people outside, people throwing frisbee to the dog. Um, yeah, who wouldn't want to come here and live here? I was like, that's probably what people think of when they think America. I'm like, yeah, this is what it's all about. I mean, this is where life is in these moments with others, connecting, having conversations. And I had a lot of good conversations this weekend. And I was able to observe a lot. And as I reflect within and look out, I see a lot of pain. How can I see it? Because I feel pain. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely do. There's a lot of discourse in the world. But it was like the conversations I had, like the basic human needs of to love and be loved, to want your children to do better than you, not make the same mistakes you did. Um, a lot of the conversations I had were like all that, like we're all in these similar situations and just trying to do our best, you know, do the best with what we have, um, in the current state of affairs. It's an interesting cross section to be able to see that, because I mean, I think if you have people who are genuine, kind, caring people, you can definitely see that. And then, of course, you have your people who are oblivious to everything else and super normal, I guess, or common, you know, still chasing everything that the world tells them is important: status, money, skipping out on the connection. I mean, I even talked to one of the managers at Trader Joe's. We went to Trader Joe's, and that was exciting. I love going to Trader Joe's, but it's a lot like organ transplant. Man, as soon as this stuff hits the cooler to one freezer, it's not too bad when we're in town, but when we drive home and it's 3 hours, sometimes I have to tell my wife, all right, you're gonna have to quit bumping them gums, and we got to go because this is like a transplant. We got to get that heart to the patient. We got to get our Trader Joe's to the house and to the freezer. But yeah, I had a great conversation with one of the managers there, and it was just cool. We bonded over man buns. How about that? Just sparked up a conversation. And yeah, and then like one of the other moms I was talking to at the crawfish boil, like uh, her daughter, they do like the School of Rock, which, I was telling her about my daughter's school, and they just didn't have these things when we were growing up. So that's what we're trying to expose our kids to, and trying to afford them those opportunities, and for them to not have to, I mean, do, now all the things that were not, we were told weren't possible when you were like Gen X, whether it was like being a musician, an actor, or this or that, a pipe dream. I mean, being a podcaster wasn't even an option when I was in my 20s. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So think about it. Now, so much more is possible. And from anywhere. You don't have to be in LA, you don't have to be in New York. You can live in whatever small podunk town you want to if that's your style. It's partially my style. I mean, that's why we live in the sticks. That's why I had no fucking power for 2 hours on a perfectly sunny day. Yeah, yeah. Explain that, Cherokee County. Um, forgot what the fuck I was talking about. Sort of. Not really. The basic human needs are the same, and you know, we get caught up in the in between stuff. Um, but I enjoyed it. And if anybody I met there, even though I don't know your name, I remember I had a great time talking to you. Great conversations. Because I think that's where life is at. These little moments, these shared moments with people. It could be the last conversation you ever have with that person. Um, which is why I encourage you, if you're a listener, reach out. Find my link tree at any of the socials. Reach out, start up a conversation. I have accountability groups. Join up. It's about connection. If I met you out somewhere, it doesn't have to be the last time we ever talked or had a great conversation. We live in this world where we can connect from afar. Um, but yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Got to play some drums. I think I don't know if I talked about The Matrix last time, that I'd never really seen it. Maybe seen it in passing. I don't know if I mentioned it because I'm just not a sci-fi fan. And my brother-in-law rented The Matrix like for my nephew and everybody to watch. Because yeah, I mean they're little like, but I don't think he'd ever seen it either. But he works all the fucking time, so he doesn't really watch a lot of TV. Um, and I took a shower kind of during maybe the first third or so. I might have caught half of it, maybe a little more than half. Still kind of foggy on the concept. Uh, but I can't say I was 100% invested, mostly because um, I missed the first part. So I knew I wasn't paying attention because I didn't plan to watch it. And this all comes from a Facebook post of somebody asking if they'd seen The Matrix. And I was like, nope. Usually, if it's super popular and people are flocking to it, I go away from it. Um, I don't know what that is. Maybe I don't want to compete with everybody else. Like, you're not going to catch me standing in the Black Friday or whatever they call it, the Christmas lines and all that bullshit. Fuck no. I don't need it. I don't need it. Yeah. So, yeah, when people, hey guys, quick break, but this one's important. If you're tired of setting goals that never leave the Notes app, or you're feeling stuck in the same cycle, let's change that. Accountability isn't about pressure, it's about partnership. I offer one on one accountability coaching for those who are ready to show up, not just for their goals, but for themselves, their families, and their purpose. Whether you're working on discipline, building better habits, or simply trying to stay consistent, I got you. No fluff, no judgment, just real conversations and real progress. If that sounds like something you need, hit the link in the show notes and let's connect. All right, back to the episode. Everything this new shiny object, me, step aside and watch everybody else and see. And maybe it's worth it, maybe it's not. I don't know. But I could kind of see, I think maybe during that time, it was that's when special effects and different things. I think it was one of those first movies, kind of like with the Mission Impossible, when you know, and then everything effects just got crazy to where I just started calling Mission Impossible movies. That series is called Bullshit Impossible. I mean, nobody's riding a fucking motorcycle on the front wheel blasting people with a gun. Maybe in Grand Theft Auto if you can even ride motorcycles. But yeah, that's probably maybe that's why I don't like science fiction or things that are too I've never seen any of the John Wicks either. I mean, it's kind of too much. I mean, I get it, sort of, maybe, not really. I mean, it's exciting, but I don't know, not realistic. Although it's supposed to be entertainment, so what does it matter? Why am I making a fuss over it? I don't know. Because I like things that have meaning. I like watching comedy specials, documentaries. Um, yeah, yeah. I don't know that I watch a lot of movies when I think about it. And the last one I saw was that Last Breath with Woody Harrelson, which is based on true events. So yeah, you can see. Please don't hold it against me, and I don't hold it against you if you like it. It's just not my thing. Um, never has been. I don't even think I really read much fiction. Only in elementary school, and then probably when I was in junior high, and knew I wanted to go in the military. I was reading like nonfiction, like Force Recon Diary 1 and 2. It's like a Navy corpsman who was part of Force Recon in Vietnam. And so I'd read books like that. And yeah. So never really been into fiction, science fiction, make believe. Uh, Definitely always been more into documentary reality. Although, I've done psychedelics in the past. But that's more spiritual in nature, versus science fiction, I guess you could call it. Even though, some people could there's some people believe in science fiction. I mean, the future and these things actually happen, whether it's like going to space and all the stuff we have now, all the capabilities. But just like religion, I mean, you got people who believe, people who don't. So, I don't know. You do you. I'm gonna do me. So, and that's reality and spirituality. Yeah, 100%. Um, but we need the science fiction people, kind of, I guess. I mean, that's how we get all this great stuff. That's why we can podcast and talk to each other across the world. Have everything at your fingertips. God bless the nerds. 100%. We need y'all. But that's really it when it comes down to it is, when I look at it and everybody's trying to make it. And, I thought of it when I was having this conversation at the party. I was like, it's that understanding that everybody has a value. How much or what they bring to the table can be a different story. But I looked there and I was like, okay, we're all here. Now, if a natural disaster or something bad were to happen right now, between all the dudes here and all the women here, all the different skill sets we have, all that, like, I have healthcare. The one lady was an MRI technologist. Certain we had some people who do manual labor. All kinds of people. And so it's like, man, if something bad happened, you have this pool of people and knowledge to pull from with different skills and different um, things of value to offer. You know, and that's how you win. But we got to get that way as a world instead of putting each other down or saying, hey, you're less than because you do this, or you're a fucking work in a warehouse, or you're a truck driver, or you're a plumber, or, you know? We need you. Yeah, it was Micro Theo Vaughn. Yeah. What did he say? Something like, I guarantee you, if your shitter doesn't flush, the plumber might as well be a fucking surgeon, right? When you need electricity, you need those people. So yeah, we gotta get past that. We gotta start understanding that it's not more than, less than. It's different. It's and together. That's how we're gonna make the world a better place and make the world work. Is to value each other, respect each other, value what other people bring to the table, and work together to make the shit happen. And that was kind of the theme. My observations this weekend was the world's in a weird fucking place. And it has been. And my whole experience from like the pre election, living with Buck at that time, taking care of a dying man, and through the election, his death, and everything else. And oh, fucking, the world is in a weird ass place. All coming at you from Cinco de Mayo. Supposed to be an upbeat holiday, full of Modelo's and margaritas. I won't be having any, but should you have some, do it responsibly. Uber, call an Uber. Don't drink and drive, because even if you don't kill yourself, you might kill somebody else, and you're going to have to live with that the rest of your life. And that's going to eat you up. So don't fucking do it. Be smart. But yeah, it was. Maybe I realized, other than some of these moments and conversations I was having in real time, not much else matters, you know? Love, just being good to each other. I mean, it can all end quickly, badly. I mean, it was like I told, it's been, what, 3 years since we've been to Michigan, maybe? So it's been 3 years since we've seen them, but it's like, hey, how do you know we're going to make it to the next time? I've said it before, I'll say it again. You're going to have a last conversation and interaction with everyone in your life. You get to decide how you want to leave that. These are the thoughts that plague my mind as I float through the vanilla world that is mine at the moment. But I don't know. I'm just kind of in this place where I'm letting go of some things in hopes of making room for new things. And by things, I mean experiences, positive emotion, growth, happiness. The past 6 months for me have been feel like I'm drudging through quicksand. Um, I'd like for the universe to ease up just a little bit. Just a little bit. Un poquito. In case the universe is speaking Spanish on Cinco de Mayo. Yeah. Give me a little bit of relief, universe. Come on. Give me a taste. Give me a little something that I'm at least headed in the right direction. That, you know, yeah. I don't know. But this wasn't a very super exciting or very productive episode in a way. Kind of a deep and thoughtful episode, partially. But man, all the setbacks really took a lot of my oomph. But not gonna be the case next time. We're gonna get a new ring light and I don't know. We're gonna say learn. I don't know what I'm gonna learn. Maybe how to turn my mood around quicker, or to double check, or maybe I should have just went and got a new ring light earlier. I don't know. We got it taken care of. It doesn't matter. It got fixed. It got figured out. That's all that matters, right? In the end, it's all about making it happen, being resourceful. I mean, I don't feel like driving 20, 25 minutes. Imagine how much wind out of my sails that would take if I had to drive all the way to fucking town and get a ring light just so I could record. I mean, dude, I've already had setback after setback. And I still gotta assemble this, upload it, clip it. Man, it's already 1500, 1501. That's 301 for you non-military types. But hopefully we'll have this out by 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Be releasing at the same time as Mike Drop podcast, which is one of my favorite podcasts. I love his motto. If you don't like it, go fucking choke yourself. Um, but I was actually pretty stoked. That was kind of a highlight of my day. Is I do listen to Mike Drop often. I do listen to Cleared Hot with Andy Stump, and Mike Ritland was a guest on Cleared Hot today, and so that's really cool because it is, you know, I have a few favorite podcasts that I listen to, but typically you're listening to somebody you like as a host interview a guest. So it's always awesome to see some of your favorite hosts be a guest on another show and get to learn about them because typically, you're learning about them. But that's what keeps me going back to a podcast is my connection to the host. Um, Whether I like their integrity, what they stand for, their sense of humor, which, Andy Stumpf, Mike Ritland, both my style. Of course, I was in the Navy. I was not a SEAL, but um, it's definitely the sense style of humor that I've experienced most of my life. Till lately, the world's gotten a little soft. Everything's offensive to everyone. I fucking grow up. People can say shit all the time. Maybe true, maybe not, you know? Call me short, yes, I'm 5'5". You could say whatever you want. It may be true, it may not be. Doesn't fucking matter to me. Yeah, people get butthurt about some crazy shit. It's kind of what was running through my head as I was walking and thinking about. It made me go back to that conversation of, why can't you tell other people if somebody sucks, if they're a shitty business person? Because I think I'd had that in the podcast, and then it's like I run into my brother-in-law and like he's dealing with a shitty person in a negotiation, and they have like mutual people, and if it doesn't work out, it's like all the mutual people are going to be like, they're going to know this guy's an a-hole, and they may not want to do business with him. And I was like, yeah, I mean, people eventually show themselves, even if we're not supposed to give warning, you know? Because that was that whole thing of like, why are we allowed to say, you know, this is okay? Don't date this person. They're shitty. Be, beware of this scam, beware of that scam. But there's certain things that are kind of off limits, whether it's like employment or whatever. You can't be like, oh, they're a shitty company to work for. um, but yeah, I was thinking of that, you know. let's take this for instance. You could any guy walking down the street could be like, "Hey, that dude's got a little dick." Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. Who the fuck knows and who the fuck cares? Only person who should be concerned with it is the person he's with and him. So, yeah, I was like, it just boggles my mind of where people focus their energy and how they choose to spend it when they could be spending it making the world a better place, using their gift, figuring out what that is, and directing that purpose and um, kicking ass and taking names, however that looks. Whether fitness is your thing, coaching is your thing, the Bible is your thing, maybe being a math tutor, I don't know. Everybody's got gifts. Yeah, because we were talking about something. Man, I cannot remember what we were talking about, but I was like, how does one? Oh, we were talking. It was performances on the cruise, like performers. How some of these performances, like on cruise ships, it's like, how does one discover that this is their talent? Who knows? But it is. Now this is what they do for a living and entertain people. Maybe they love it, maybe they don't. I hope they do. Um, but there's so much out there. Find your thing. This is my thing. I'm gonna keep doing it. Whether the 70 something of you in YouTube are there or it's more or five. Yeah, I don't know anything else to do. The only other thing to do is just conform and go back to what damn near killed me. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Nope. No, sir. Not doing that. But enough of that. We're going to have a good week. I've been seeing 555 a lot, which means change. Today is 55. 25. There's some fives in there. We're going to turn it on moving forward. Kind of giving up some things that were taking up space in my life, and I'm hoping to free up a little bit of my mental bandwidth to devote what I really want to devote to. I feel like I've been in a funk in a weird place lately, and um, yeah, it's been an interesting, hard, good, challenging 6 months, but I'm ready to go from the darkness to the light. You know, I'm the vanilla base flavor right now. That's the life I'm seeing right now, but let's cold stone it up and let's fucking add some mix-ins. Let's make some fucking Lucky Charms ice cream. Speaking of which, I've never had cold stone. Every time we're near it, I'm never hungry enough to have it. Um, but I heard it doesn't melt because they put instant pudding in it, and that's who doesn't love fucking pudding? Come on, yeah. So yeah, that's where we're going with this. 555, lots of change. It's 5525. We're gonna do this thing. Um, Things are changing. It's about to be summertime, and yeah, I'm ready to put the pedal to the metal and get back in a groove because I definitely fell out of a groove. But um, when you deal of like taking care of Buck, when you deal with life and death, and that's what you do for a living, whether it's taking care of people working in the ER, people who are war fighters, police officers, firefighters, EMS, truck drivers out there on the road battling weather conditions, bad things happen, and It's okay if I feel a little depressed from everything of the past 6 months. It's probably normal. I'd probably be more concerned if I felt nothing. Okay? So even the fact that I feel a little vanilla, I guess is promising. Because, hey, I had I wasn't vanilla, it was chocolate before, and I'm really not a chocolate fan, which is the darkness. That's what I mean. If we're talking about ice cream terms here. But yeah. So I'm hoping to pick up some speed, momentum. Like I said, add those mix-ins, get it going out of vanilla into something a little more palatable and maybe even exciting. And maybe even the best ice cream I ever had. How about that? Let's go for that. I'm at that point in life. I'll be 49 next month, approaching 50. Um, the average age is what, like 76 in the US? Something like that for males. I know it's not that old, but if I got 25, 30 years left, um, I've realized as I've become older, I've just become more selective of what I like, what I don't like, what I want, what I don't want, what I'm willing to do and what I'm not willing to do, what I'm willing to sacrifice and what I'm not willing to sacrifice. And I just don't want to waste a lot more time, any more time than I've already wasted doing bullshit. It's the same. I'm not a big fan of chicken drumsticks. I told my wife that last week. I'm like, I'd prefer thighs. I mean, if it doesn't matter to you, then I prefer thighs. I'll cook drumsticks for you, but I don't really want drumsticks. I'm not a big fan of them, even though I've eaten them in the past, if that makes sense. That's where I'm at. I'm just like, eh, some things that were okay in the past that I just tolerated, permitted, maybe to go with the flow or, mm, no, no more. Everything needs to be intentional and, you know, deliberate from what I want to eat to what I'm going to do professionally. Yeah. So that's where I'm headed. That's where we're going. And right now, my intention is to get this bitch uploaded and out to you guys. I wish it could have been a little bit. I wish I had more to talk about, maybe. But hopefully, this will give you some things to think about in terms of clarity, intentionality, doing things deliberately. And, hey, don't let shit ruin your day. I'm smiling even though everything's been trying to fuck up my day, but it ain't going to. We're gonna we're gonna press on. So, all right. Till Friday, you guys go out and be the person that you want to meet. Peace.
Hey, go.